Welcome to Let's Play Rule the Waves 2 as France, starting in 1920. It's the dawn of a new decade. 1930 awaits, and we are typically busy doing stuff with quite a number of ships under construction, refitting their fire control to the very latest standards, which is causing us a little bit of monthly pain, but a new decade absolutely feels like time to pause, time to plan again, look at the bigger picture. We've got this monthly budget of 382,000, and with tensions only at modest levels, that's only going to get more. We're currently spending 22,500 on construction, so let's have a play with what we can do with that over the next 3 years. Before we go there, before we decide what we need to build, let's look where we are in the ranking tables. So here we are comparing ourselves to France, Britain, USA and Japan over approximately the next 3 years. I've clumped together this balance of power into 4 big bits. 1, 2, 3, 4. Into 5 big bits. We've got the battleships and battlecruisers. We've got the carrier equivalents. So I'm counting a light carrier as half and a full carrier as 1, and if anyone has any seaplane carriers, as a quarter. The cruiser force, I'm lumping together the heavy and the lights. The light force, the destroyers and the corvettes, and then finally the submarines. And you can see here that we've got a clear 4th place, only just behind Japan, but in the capital ship stakes, we are definitely behind at the moment. We are completely competitive in this nascent world of carriers, but not to get complacent about that. We're comparable to most countries in our cruiser force, except for the Americans who've gone cruiser crazy. And we're doing perfectly fine, in fact in the slight lead, with our light forces. With a fair bit of degree of lagging behind, half in our submarine force. And that's going to be particularly important because in deciding who we are going to fight next, we are upping our ambitions. I'm not looking at the Soviet Union. We can defeat them with one arm tied behind our backs. And I'm certainly not looking at Italy either. But Britain and the USA, as you can see here, are the bosses of the game at the moment. And Japan is comparable to us. But we would have to invest in our naval bases out in Asia in order to compete with them effectively. Against America, we are never going to have bases. I mean, we have one tiny one. So it's always going to be a long distance war in which submarines can be incredibly important. And in Britain, we probably need a balanced force to be reasonably defended in our empire and face them off in Northern Europe and have a submarine force to really nail them down. The British have problems of their own because they're a global naval power, so they have to deploy a fair amount of their force all over to protect their empire. So their apparent lead is not fully as great as it is in reality. So that's the balance of power. Looking at the composition of my own ships, I've divided them up into speed classes, so the over 28s, the 27 to 23s and the sub 22s. And as you can see, a large number of my battleships are in this slow lane, and we are gradually replacing them, but it's something to constantly keep an eye on. We have a quarter in the semi-fast and another quarter approximately in the fast category. So we really need to edge this down. The carriers are almost all fast, except for that one initial semi-fast one that we had to convert at the dawn of the carrier age, which I've converted to primarily a fighter-only carrier. Our cruisers are a mixed bunch. There's been a fair few now that are fast, and quite a few that are only semi-fast, including quite a number of our heavy cruisers. And then 50-50 split. Actually, it's incorrect to have the corvettes here in red. They should be green because they're doing exactly what they should be doing. So really this helps to prioritize my thinking. There are some obsolescent heavy cruisers I would love to replace. These 12-inch battleships certainly need tackling, and that's fine. So I had to think about what the menu looks like. What could I choose from? So I could pick up a Ducan Plus, an improved Ducan. The original one is several years old now, at a cost, at an eye-watering cost. And that would really help us boost the fast battleship element of our battle line. I could go for an upgraded Marengo for less of a cost, but still pretty hefty. That would increase our middling battleship line. I may want to keep competitive with a new carrier, which is pretty reasonably priced for 75,000. I mean, yes, there's the cost of the air wing on top of that, but you know, that's pretty good. Equally, I could get some more CVLs. They're not quite half the cost. So pound for, or dollar or whatever for ton, or for plane in particular, they are slightly less economic. I have a design concept that's being worked through at the moment in the duplex class. They cost a lot, 60,000. Now, that's a pretty tasty ship, 15,000 tons. I could build a classic treaty cruiser, but there's no treaty in force, so why would I do that? And this will help us with obsolescence. I'm tempted still to buy a seaplane carrier. They're pretty cheap, you know, they are half the price of a CVL, so approximately a quarter of the price of a carrier, and they do have some uses. If I have the spare change, it will definitely be one of the things I'll be thinking of. You can always have new light cruisers, and the Victor Hugos seem pretty good, but there's more you can do with them, and the same for the destroyers. Our corvettes all seem fine. And then that brings us down to our submarines, either mine laying or straightforward. I'm discounting the need to build coastal submarines. Coastal submarines are as cheap as chips. They're brilliant, but that's not really going to help me if my enemy is going to be America, because they are not in Northern Europe. They are 2 zones away, and so I need submarines with range in order to tackle them. Ditto Japan. If my enemy is going to be Britain, well then coastal submarines would be a bargain. So I could buy from all of these. I've decided to buy from the ones that I've highlighted in a blue background for the reasons that I put there. And working all that out, which I'll spare you the maths, shows that for my current construction of 22,500 times 36 months of a 3-year plan allows me to build 2 improved Ducans, which I've called Liberté. I can also build 2 Joffs, or slightly improved Joffs. I can build a couple of duplexes, and I could build 40 submarines, split 50-50 between the mine layers and the non-mine layers. Let me know in the comments what you feel about mine laying submarines. They are a little bit more, but mines are horrors, or can be. That comes out at 780,000. So I've got a bit of spare change, 32,000 left. I could do 20 coastal submarines or 5 new destroyers or a new CL for that kind of money. And finally, just to highlight, to put this in context, the last time I did a 3-year plan before my war with the Soviet Union, my construction budget amounted to 405,000, half of what I have available now. So that's the plan. As you're aware, as I pointed out, we are slightly short of money just at the moment. So let's press on and see what the game is going to be done. So, oh, that's nice. The new Marengo, the Océan, is going to be delayed by a month, which is excellent, but also rubbish. Our top spy's got hold of some data for the Russian dive bomber. I wish our spy could get hold of allowing us to build dive bombers. Combat radius 200 miles. I'm not liking that at all. I'm not going to go to build a duplex because I haven't really got the money. In fact, I'm about to go into negative, so I'm going to have to slow down some of these. Oh, in fact, both Marengos will come out a little better. Okay, so that's slowed down those two, not for long, as you can see. So here come the reconstructions with their much improved fire control. They want to buy fleet tactics from us. Yeah, let's boost our money. Aviation pundits are ecstatic about the new aircraft type medium bomber. Wow, those airplane types, they're an excitable bunch. Okay. So we can unpause these two and get them going again, which is great. And more and more and more. Interesting buying the right? Yes, off you go, Germany, fine ally. And a new piece, 2% weight saving on armor. That's quite a lot. And our torpedo bombers are ready. I'm just going to check the aeroplane types just on the off chance that we can do our own dive bombers. No. That's a bugger. So we have a lovely new torpedo bomber with a heavy range of 200 miles, so significantly, nearly, well, yeah, 60% more than our previous torpedo bomber, less than the range of dive bombers. We have a medium bomber also with a range of 200 miles if we go heavy, or nearly 360 miles if we go medium, sorry, if we go light, 265 miles if we go medium. So worth bearing in mind, the AI will sort that out. And I scout, still quite short range, only 150 at light. The flying boats, a couple of hundred at full or 400 light. A fighter with only 125 range, 126 at light, and an old medium bomber. So yes, shame about the dive bomber. Let's just go and look at heavier than air. We seem to be still, despite high, stuck on only 4. Really jammed on that. Carrier is 8. Lighter than air, who cares? Let's just see here. AP is a little bit behind, so I'm going to put that up to medium. They're on 15. They're on high at 15, so I'm going to take that down to medium just to balance it all out. Okay. Now I have, as you would expect me to do, have thought about planning out these ships, and I might be getting ahead of myself. So the Marengo is about to be delivered now, and we could take out the Richelieu and the Charles Martel. The Océan is going to be delivered in 4 months' time. We can get started on a Liberté and a Joffre and a second Liberté, obviously one a year. So that feels pretty good. Back to here. I'm just going to have a little look at the Richelieu and the Charles Martel in mothballs, and they have a lot of weight remaining, but there's not really a lot I can do with a 12-incher and a 9-inch belt as well. 9 inches is not competitive, 21 knots is not competitive, and 12-inch guns are not competitive. So I'm going to take the bullet now and actually just scrap these two. Farewell. Let's have a look at all of these. I'm just going to put them into reserve since they're fair already. These two are poor, and then they're in the reserve fleet. So I've just been having a little play with the Montcalms to see if they have a decent upgrade path. And there's a fair bit that I can do. I would love for their 10-inch guns to become 10-inch quality 1. Then I feel it would be really worth pushing them up to this kind of level. I can't quite get them to 28 knots without fiddling around with some of these, which makes it more expensive. But even at 27 knots, they would be reasonably handy. One odd thing is, for these 4-inch guns, if I increase the number from 1 per turret to 2, it does nothing for the heavy anti-aircraft factor, which I can only, and indeed the weight stays the same. So I can only assume that that is a bug, which is a bit odd. What if I go and redo this in our friends in Japan? To allow quality 1, but then do it here. No, it still makes no difference. Very odd. So as I say, tempting. It would cost 23,000, so less than the cost of a light cruiser, but just for now, I'm going to hold off. It's important to have a plan, stick to the plan. And into April. So, valuable insights into German ship design technology, also into light forces and torpedo warfare technology. Well, these Germans, they keep giving and giving. Welcome, Marengo. A disarmament conference. Now, I do enjoy disarmament conference because from game terms, they can mix it up a little bit. I would normally support the maximum. We can live with reductions in disarmament, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go for keep up appearances being reasonable, but don't agree to anything binding. I'd wish that it said don't agree to anything building, because I have the second Marengo just months away. I've spent a huge amount of money building it, and I would be very upset if it were to get scrapped as part of a disarmament conference. Ditto, I have a carrier only a few months away. So let's go for this and see if the conference comes up with anything. Much talk, blah, blah. That's a shame. AP projectiles, good. A new improved flying boat. Okay. So the old 66B is a bit of a nudge up, lacking the torpedo that I quite like, but yeah, quite a big range hike. So yes to that. Thanks very much. Now the monthly balance is getting very healthy. So time to go back and decide what we'd like to build, especially given that the second Marengo and the Lafayette are a few months away. Right, so it's a pretty straightforward choice. The new fast battleships, the Libertés, are take 33 months to get going, so helps to start them early. There we go. There've been some good savings, so we've got 630 tons remaining, so that's quite a chunk. Let's just bring this out. So 9 16-inch guns, 24 dual-purpose 4-inch guns. Yeah, I know that's a bit light. Interesting to see the Germans have learned how to build anti-aircraft directors, which is great. Just improve the anti-aircraft defenses there. 20 and 40, that feels like a really great amount, with 59 heavy AA, 28 knots, 30-inch armor, which gives us, I think, a little bit of immunity in the 25 to 18,000 range. We would need to take it up a little bit to 14 inches. Let's see if we can do that. Yeah, we can do that. Okay. So that helps. Probably should put the turrets to 14 as well. Conning towers, I mean really. That's better. And I'm all happy with that. Doesn't have the best. Okay, see if we can put that up to level. Oh no. Okay. Oh, they haven't invented AA directors, so we'll have to leave those out and pop them in when we do a minor refit. Takes down the AA to half, really. Still pretty happy with that. Costing 184,000, so actually slightly less than when I first originally planned it out. So all good. Let's go in there, and that. Yes to overwrite, and yes to get it going. I'm holding off buying any of the specific things for a particular enemy. So do I build coastal submarines because I'm fighting Britain? Do I increase my basing because Japan's clearly going to be the next enemy, and so on. Japanese want rights to things. Yeah, give me money. Another lovely breakthrough air-launched torpedoes. Later air-launched. Well, nice. But could I have dive bombers, please? Oh, and a deck park. Okay. That would be nice. And we can build air bases up to 60. Right. I think we'll be doing that right away. Okay, so I've built a pile of air bases. New hawkish government wants us to raise. Well, excellent. So we were on 382. So we'll see how that goes. Up to 429. That's a fair old increase. Thank you very much, hawkish government. The monthly balance there didn't shoot up as much as you would expect because I'm building a whole pile of new expanded air bases. But for once, I think possibly the first time I can remember, my total expenses at 28,500 are less than my reserve fund. So that will be a lovely springboard from which to start to build our next range of battleships. They want to buy stuff? Fine. Still annoyingly low on the tensions, and I don't want to fight Italy. I feel like a bully. And the Lafayette and the Ocean, so they're all in there. Everyone loves a shooting competition. And well done, the Admiral Sharma, one of the older cruisers. Yes, let's go to the build screen. So we've got 7,000, and if we build one of them, that will take up most of that. So let's do that. And let's just go and check some of these active fleets. Oh, okay, they've gone up to good. I didn't quite intend for that to happen. I'm going to put them into reserve. And these have become good too. Into reserve. They're still working up. And the carriers I keep in active fleet anyhow in order to maintain their air crews at a high quality. Right, pile of new air bases. I've created some in Southeast Asia just at the 20 strength point in order to allow float planes to be based there. Asked in an interview which nation most likely. So let's have a little think. Let's say America, and let's see what that does to stuff. Well, we pushed it up a little bit, up to 5. But it's pushed up our budget a little bit to 450. Excellent. And now we have a monthly budget of just under 13,000. So I'm really confident that we can build another Liberté. Voltaire. I do love how they don't mind naming their ships after philosophers and professors and what have you. I was hoping for something like Republic. That's it. That's perfect companion to Liberté. Probably should have Fraternity as well. That's great. That's 2 of those, and we still have a good budget. So let's have a little look at the Joffre. No, not that. See if we can do any significant improvements. Now, obviously, we could just, build a bigger one. And that's nice and everything. But I think this is a really nice economic design. Weight remaining 130, so not much has happened here. I am toying with the idea of actually increasing our dock size. It's having to rely on the Germans, our allies, who are a bit behind us in technology, is difficult. British tensions are too high to risk building with them. Ditto the Japanese in terms of technology behind, and we're wanting to provoke the Americans, so no. So a little bit of weight. We can just obviously increase this up to the full amount. There we go. So yes, let's say okie doke to the Joffre and get that one going. Excellent. I'm not used to this being flush with money. Oh, with tensions low, Parliament reduces. So from 450 down to, well, I have to, 25,000 off. Just when I thought I would have a lot of money. So put the Ocean in reserve 2, just to help with that figure. So I'm going to start building some of these. So if we do 10, okay, that will cost a fair old bit. So let that work through the system. Lafayette has finished working group and has no air group. Okay, I'll just fix that in a moment. The Russians would like to buy some stuff from us, of course. There we go. And finally, what? Again? Yes, sell it to the Germans. Forget all of that. And that's 2 tension reductions that have taken us down 42,000. Thanks, guys, and put us into negative balance as well. Well, thank you very much. So that's a slightly disappointing end to the year. I didn't expect that. For most of the year, I was, quite enjoying being flush with money. Anyhow, 62,000 as a war chest is not too shabby at all. So let's have a little look at the year in review. So here we are for the year. A whole slew of refits, completion of some major units, and starting off 2 new ones with the design study for the carrier just a month away, and 10 new submarines, plus a lot of air bases upgraded. We've scrapped a couple of ships already that were just not competitive anymore. Tech seemed to be going really, really well, and then it just sort of petered out, so we've just got a slightly subpar 5. Tensions, weirdly, went up and then went down twice, back to back. I've never seen that before. So our budget went from 382 to 408, but had been 450. And the general level of tension is pretty much the same, really, despite trying to provoke America. And our German alliance is still holding strong. Thank you very much, Germany. There's only one more thought that I had, which is about buying some dive bombers, perhaps from Germany. So bring up aircraft types, look for dive bombers. So the British, Americans, Italians. Here's a German one. Oh, and here's another German one. From the same year, the Arado seems a lot better. Faster, but more importantly, significantly longer range. Look at this, at medium range, twice the distance. And twice the bomb load. Why would you want anything less? So let's buy a license, and this is 1,300. Well, fair enough. They complained, buying instead of French design, your prestige suffers, but I can't build. Oh well, so be it. So now I can go to some of these groups, and I can convert one of these from, okay. I hope to be able to just change it immediately and go to dive bomber, but obviously not. So let's have a look for something else then. Let's go to an air base that is missing and add an air unit. No, okay, well, perhaps that will be next month. We'll check. Thank you for watching this. It's been an interesting year of getting our minds clear of the 1920s and setting our course straight for the 1930s. rubbish about the tensions and the reduction in budget, but we've got some really classy ships under construction, and I feel ahead of the game in terms of replacing our 1900s, 1910s battle line with a modern, fast battleship and carrier fleet. Join me next time, and stay safe for now. Goodbye.